All right, guys. Happy Friday! Happy Friday! I'll tell you guys, I'm really pumped to have our guest today on our Clear channel. So if you haven't got a chance to join us or subscribe, please jump on YouTube, KLEAR channel. Please subscribe. Our purpose and our intention of putting this channel together a few years ago is to help change the world one leader at a time. And we've been bringing on incredible guests over the last few years. And today is no different. So, Derek, thank you so much for joining us today. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on.
So first things first, Derek, you and I have known each other. I mean, when did we meet each other?
All right, if I had to guess, I think probably like 2014, 2015, I think. Way back in Long Beach, I think, at your Long Beach office.
Yeah.
When I was with Astor and Black, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So I think that's kind of a great starting point. So we've known each other now for 10 years or so or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Derek Reed. So just to tell you guys a bit about Derek, such an awesome background. So Derek is a custom clothier, right? Did I say that right, Derek?
Yeah, you got it. Nailed it.
So a little bit about his background. He's the owner and founder of Club Caraway. Club Caraway is a true custom tailoring house, artfully crafting timeless wardrobes and curating unique experiences designed for a life well lived. And you're located in Minneapolis in the historic area of Semple Mansion.
Correct.
It's a strong 1920s aesthetic where your office is located.
Yep.
And it seems like Club Caraway is a celebration of old world craftsmanship in a world surrounded by instant gratification. And you do bespoke grooming and leisure and lots of things. I know we were talking a few days ago about different lines that you're starting. So you're there now. You run an incredible. I'm wearing the suit you custom made for me, right? Among all of my suits.
Yep.
So thank you for all these you've done for me over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you mind just telling this story about you? Like where you're from? What's your background? How'd you get into this?
Yeah, so we're in Minneapolis right now. I'm from here originally, so grew up here. In 2009, I had to change it up. I had to get out of the snow for a bit. So my girlfriend at the time, my now wife, we just packed up the car, sold everything we had pretty much, and drove out to Los Angeles with no job, no jobs lined up, nothing. We're just like, you know what, we're young. Let's have a little fun. And I was in the health and fitness industry at the time. So my experiences with companies like Lifetime Fitness. So I got a job working for the Sports Club LA out in Beverly Hills. And within a very short period of time, went from membership director to general manager of the club, which is now Equinox in Beverly Hills. And so that's how my little inclination of getting into the menswear business started. Was I was starting to have stuff made for myself. So I kind of got into it from a client aspect, and from a company that you are familiar with, Astor and Black, which is no longer really around, but that was my first taste of this business, and that's kind of how I got the itch, if you will. And so I was with Astor and Black for a number of years. Went to work for another company called Balani Custom Clothiers, which is based out of Chicago, and was running their showroom for a while out there on Sunset Boulevard. And then the pandemic happened. And when the pandemic happened, my wife got a job opportunity back here in Minneapolis, and I was traveling back here every few months or so to see clients. And I'm like, well, I'll just flip flop it. So when things open back up, I'll just travel back out to LA, see my clients out there. And I launched Club Caraway in July 2020, and here we are.
I love it. I love it. The interesting thing, and speaking of Astor and Black, didn't they go on Shark Tank?
Joe, who kind of bought the assets of Astor and Black out of bankruptcy, did go on to Shark Tank to, I think, kind of help expand the business to no avail on that, but was, I'm sure, nice
Right.
exposure. And Joe has a company called Bella Verde, which is, he's still going strong out in Ohio, out of Columbus.
Yeah, he actually. It's funny. I don't know if you know this, but he made a little move, and I don't know how I was connected with him or he had my information, but he actually came up here to Michigan one time,
Oh, yep.
and
Yep.
I don't know if actually, you know what? I think you may have referred him to said, "Hey, I can't get to you this time,"
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember like what happened there, but yeah, I met him in
Yep.
person, and he told me the experience about Shark Tank and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a character.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. I like him.
yes.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this space though is you do face to face sales, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when we met each other, you came to my office, you did my measurements in my office. You know, I mean, I was standing there like this, and you know.
Yeah.
So can you
Yep.
talk to me about just you and sales, right? A lot of people that watch this channel are young into sales. They don't have, you know, they come from different backgrounds. Some have experience, some don't. What's
Yep.
your experience been in sales? What have you learned about you in
You
sales?
know, I think sales is one of the best industries you could possibly get into. I mean, we're all selling something on some, no matter what you do for a living, you're selling yourself on some level. And so for me, I'm about relationships. You know, yes, we have a product that's kind of tied in with an experience, but I'm all about building relationships. That's what our business is built on. When I started, I had one client. You take great care of one client, and then it just kind of spider webs from there. And that's really what I focused on, is delivering a great experience and building great relationships. And I think that's really what helps kind of exponentially grow, not only personally but professionally too.
Yeah, you know, it's awesome. I literally said something very similar yesterday. To me, it's we obviously in the wireless AT&T space, and you know, different clients and things.
Yep,
It's like the sale isn't the product. The sale is you. You just attach the product to whatever it is you're talking about, and it
absolutely.
sounds like it's no different in the industry that you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's no secret that people buy the salesperson just as much as whatever it is that you're selling.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you get into this space. It's a new experience for you. You're out, you know, hustling, meeting clients, going out face to face.
Yep.
You know, and these suits that you're selling, I mean, to be fair, that they're not that cheap, right?
No.
So what's the range of cost of the suits that you sell?
Yeah. So like
Because they obviously they have to trust you, right?
yeah, they start at 11.95 and they venture up to 10,000. Really depending on fabric. And in our world, and this as having clothing made from a few different resources, there's a spectrum of experiences you can have. So not to get too deep in the weeds, but like you've got your made to measure, which is your most common way that you'll see clothing made these days, which is basically block patterns. So if you're a 40-inch chest, you're going to edit that template to fit you the best that you can. If you can't get the 40 to work, you might go to a 42 or down to a 38. We are on the other end of the spectrum. We're more closer to like a traditional bespoke experience in the sense that, we take about 30 measurements. We take posture measurements. We take into account how you're going to wear it, how you want it to fit, and we make an individual pattern for each client. So every time we go into the workshop, we're going to grab Ken's pattern, and that's how we're going to, make the garment in terms of basic fit for you. So it really elevates the experience. And, again, it's not cheap. These are investments into yourself, and, a less is more kind of philosophy to it.
Yeah, definitely. And in that experience, I'm sure it's opened the door for you in meeting some pretty successful people, right? And in
Absolutely.
different walks of life, and
Yeah.
maybe in sports, and maybe in business, and
Hmm.
different areas. What have you learned by just interacting with these people? Any like life lessons or business lessons just in conversation with them? Any threads of success that they've shared with you?
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of my business, is it does put me in contact with a lot of really interesting, successful people. So I'm happy to, drill them with questions and have these great like kind of mentor protege relationships. I've had one client, his name is Larry Palmer, lived in Brentwood, top guy from Morgan Stanley, and he was very, sales guy. They're selling a product, and he, dispensed some great advice on business and how not to grow too quickly, things kind of to maybe avoid, and what to do, what not to do. Now the key is listening to said advice. That's easier said than done, right?
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I made stuff for Bill Maher, Vince Vaughn, professionals like you, Tony Robbins. I mean, it's like it's kind of all over the board, and that's kind of the beauty of what I do.
You said Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was at a quick little story. I was at a Kings game out in LA, and I was sitting right in front of Peter Billingsley. I don't know if that name rings a bell, but if you know the movie The Christmas Story, A Christmas Story, he was little Ralphie in A Christmas Story, and now he's a director and he's
Okay.
a producing partner with Vince and his company, Wild West Productions. And so I made something for Peter, and then I got in touch with his associate Vince, made stuff for Vince and a few other people in their production company. And that's kind of, we're huge referral business. So, that's kind of
That's awesome.
how it works. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think the I'm trying to think the last time I was out in LA with actually some of our team, and it's so interesting. We're at the Lakers game, and I'm with one of my partners, Gary. I don't know if you did some suits for Gary also, but we were at the game, and it's funny because Gary's so subtle. His business does 400 million a year in revenue,
Hmm.
and he said he leans in and he says, "Hey, this guy in front of us owns the Toronto Raptors."
Yeah. Yeah.
or it's at the basketball team, Toronto Raptors, I think it is. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? It's
Yeah.
like this guy, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, hey, nice. And he introduced us. He was super kind, and we
Yep.
just happened to be in those seats, right, where
It's
people
just, you,
like that.
you never know, who you're going to, run into that day. And that's kind of part of the reason too, on like, how I'm thoughtful and how I'm presenting myself. Obviously I'm a walking billboard for my business, but you really never know who you're going to run into at the grocery store or wherever. So it's like always being open-minded, open to that, possibility of whoever you're going to meet that day.
Love it. So tell me about this. So being an entrepreneur, obviously running your own business is not easy, right? There's
No.
so many people that dream someday of being in ownership, being in control, having, the good of the goodness of maybe having freedom of time and having some strong finances. But the reality is on the opposite side of the all those great things of entrepreneurship, there's also some things that are painful,
Yeah.
and sometimes people have tough times, people have things that don't go right. Pandemic as an example, my
Yeah.
guess is the pandemic hit the business because your custom clothes is not necessarily a commodity, right? So
Yeah. Yep.
there can be some challenges. Anything you do mentally, anything you do to strengthen yourself as a business person, now husband, and you know what I mean, like anything that you can teach someone in their mind to help them move towards succeeding.
Yeah, I think it really is a mind game. I've heard often recently, follow your plan, not your mood. And I would argue that there's probably more hard times in business than good times. And it's like really navigating through that and thinking long term. Like for me, I'm big on routine. So I'm up early, I'm working out, I'm taking care of myself, I'm constantly learning, always. Um, and so, I think it really comes down to developing a vision or a plan of really what you want to accomplish and being able to stick to it over time. Because if you're not truly passionate, if you're not willing to put the work in, you're going to fall off. It's what's going to happen. So, really having a long-term plan and being able to stick through the tough points, because there will be tough points. And that's where most people fall short, is when it gets tough. They're like, this isn't for me. I'm going to go do something else, and if you can develop that skill, that's where you'll really succeed.
I love it. Yeah, it's interesting because I think in anything worthwhile, there's a price to pay,
Yeah.
right? The how you spend your time, and the people, the decisions, the you mentioned the reading, the things you do and nobody's watching.
Yep.
That's the price that people pay to accomplish that when the lights are on, when the crowd is there, and you're in front of everybody, of course, oh my God, they're amazing.
Yep.
They don't see the things, the discipline, like at 6 a.m. when your alarm goes off and you wake up and you're like, oh, and you get up anyways.
Yeah.
They don't see you get, like, for me, I'm crazy. I don't know if I told you, I do the ice bath every day. This morning,
That doesn't surprise me. Yep. Yep.
So,
Isn't that all winter in Michigan? I mean, come on, Yeah.
Exactly. So it's this time of year is harder than ever because
Yeah.
it sends just shock through the body. And I sit in there for 3 minutes, and
Yeah.
I'm like, every second of that, I'm like, what the am I doing right now?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just my time to prove to my own mind that I have control, that I
Yeah.
control what I do, not my mind.
And how
So,
good you feel when you get out and you've done it,
Exactly. So tell me about this. I know we mentioned it's kind of, we were chatting the other day. You said, I'm just trying to replace myself. I mean, how hard is it to build a team? I know you're looking to scale your business a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
about that. How is that a challenge? What are you doing? Because we have people in our industry that are actually learning how to do that too. I'm trying to help them with that, but
Yep.
anything you're going through that you can share?
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. The best and worst part of business is people and finding the right people, and they're out there. And it's, for us, we're a small team. I've got a business partner, Charles, who handles kind of more of the marketing, strategic side of things. My wife helps out in the business as well, doing bookkeeping, things of that nature. I'm the sartorial director, right? I'm the one doing the creative direction from like a clothing design standpoint, working with clients. And so we want to broaden that reach, right? So it's finding people, and we've had people that we've brought on, previously to kind of step into that clothier role with, some success, some not. It's hard to find people who are entrepreneurial thinking, but can work in a collaborative team environment. And so that's really been the challenge, is finding people that have the grit to build a business. This is a tough business. It's a niche market place, especially in today's society where people are, you would argue that people are dressing more casual. But we don't need everybody. Our clients are those that do dress with intention, are typically successful. So it's finding people who can really put in the work it takes to grow one client at a time. And you've got to have this, it's kind of like an art and a science to it as well. So they've got to be good salespeople, but they've also got to be good with the actual function of measuring and design and that whole element too. So that is the constant struggle of really attracting the talent that it takes to do this.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like that's our challenge too.
Yeah.
Like that is, you mentioned your business is tough and is challenging. And I obviously I'm aware of some of it because we've talked about it. But I think all business is challenging, right? Being successful in this world is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's, there's a reason there's a certain percentage of the world that makes 6 figures, and even smaller percent that makes 7 figures. Yeah. So in my mind, it's like, what are we doing differently? And I love it that you said, we're not looking for everyone, right? Yeah. And it's the same thing for us when we recruit, we hire people. We're not looking for everyone. We're looking for a specific person that has certain value systems, that aligns with our value systems as a business, and then has interest in backing it up with their work ethic. And if they've never done sales before, they want to learn sales, and they appreciate the value add that we bring them by spending the time and developing, so it's very interesting. Like, to me, it's like always so neat, these calls for me, to hear your background, your story, because you could plop your story into our business. I could plop my story into your business. You know what I mean? It's not, it just doesn't seem that different. Yeah.
You see some commonalities just looking at, anybody who's achieved any level of success. You can start to kind of find what, the commonalities are of how they run their business, how they structure their life, what are their personalities like. And, it's hard to find people. There's a sea of mediocre out there. And so what you're kind of looking for are the people that aren't satisfied with mediocre and want to create something better and live a robust, fulfilled life, and not just in business, but, personally too.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So obviously being an entrepreneur, controlling your time, decisions to grow the business and succeed at a high level. What has it given you? What are some things that you didn't realize, like, getting in this journey of entrepreneurship, which can be tough. It also
I
can be
think
incredibly
before
rewarding,
you,
right?
it's absolutely rewarding. But it's challenging. There's good days. There are horrible days. And it's what I've learned is that to not pay so much attention to the the down, because a lot of times if you have like a down day, right, like you're often like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right career? And what I love about what I do is the what we do is we create something from scratch, something that didn't exist before, and it's this beautiful thing to take something that didn't exist, to make it and have somebody enjoy it and see how it impacts their life in their, business or personal life or whatever it may be. It's like this little thing to some people, but for us, it's like, it's why we do what we do, So, as an entrepreneur, I've learned that, you really have to focus on the long game, because that's really what it takes. Is if you're looking for a quick buck, quick success, this isn't for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, and it's like anything worthwhile that's going to last long term is going to take some time to build, right?
Absolutely.
It's things that happen quickly, or I'm
Yeah.
a little nervous about those things, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't tend to last.
Yeah, and it looks
So
glamorous. To add one more point, it looks
perfect.
glamorous from the outside. Like being an entrepreneur, having just that entrepreneurial mindset looks glamorous from the outside. Everyone's on Instagram. They, see how well people are doing, right? And what people don't see is the 10 years it took to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the saying is it takes 10 to 15 years to be an overnight success, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously there's people that watch this channel that are entrepreneurs that could potentially need someone to take care of their clothing needs. Do you mind sharing with anyone that watches or things that could reach out to you or find you? Where can they find you, etc.?
Yeah, the best place for us is, our website, clubcaraway.com. Caraway is with two R's, so CARRAWAY.com. And Instagram is a great resource for us too, because it allows people to really see, what we do, the kinds of things that we can do, that type of stuff. And I'm always happy for anybody that has any questions about clothing or otherwise to reach out at any point.
Love it. I love it. Love it. Any final words? Anything else you'd like to share about your industry or about things in general? And I really, really appreciate jumping on today. I know we've been going back and forth for a little bit about getting you on the call.
No, I think that's pretty much it. For us, beyond the clothing, we focus on crafting experiences as well. So, what we've been doing beyond the clothing side is with these people that we meet that are our clients and then become friends, we're doing these, private dinners where we can get people together and have discussions about business, about life, and, wine tastings, and bringing these people that we've kind of attracted and using it for, creating some great relationships. So that's really been a beautiful piece of this business too.
Love it. Are you at the office right now? Are you at your
Yeah. Yeah,
Are you?
we're in
Are you
Atelier.
in a mobile where you can show us a little bit? Show us
Yeah,
around a
yeah.
bit or no?
So
Are
I've,
you able
I've
to?
got like a
I've
little.
never been there, right?
Yeah, so this is like, the little kind of the little meeting fabric bar in here where I do a lot of the consultation work. I'm starting to make garments myself too, so we're kind of building out a little bit of a workspace. You can see the sewing machine back there, so we're, doing some of the garment work in here as well. And we've got a little private event going on out here, but we kind of spin around. We've got the library and stuff out here that one of my colleagues is doing a little networking thing out there as well. So this house
Love
is,
it.
3 stories, built in 1901. It's a beautiful place. It's like the perfect setting for what we do. So we love it.
I love it. And I won't say anything to anybody, but the naked person's still behind you. It's all good. We do
There we go. There
everything
we go.
here.
There we go. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yep. We just we'll make clothes
So
for her, so it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yep.
she's the next person that you're gonna create some custom clothing for. So
Exactly.
listen, it's okay because we have young people. That just totally made the call for them. The YouTube
Yeah.
channel, we'll get 1 million views. We'll
Yeah.
go viral. We'll be good.
Yeah, this is art. You'll either go viral or get demonetized, one of the two. So
Right. So Derek, thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, I mean, over the years, you've I feel like I tell people all the time, I don't get paid to spell. I get paid to look good, and you help me with that. So thank you so much. I know when we got Club Caraway on today, right?
Yep,
And the lapel, and you always do this for me, 2313 inside of my suits.
Yep,
You know the story behind the business and
yep.
and why we do what we do on our side. And I just want to thank you for all the years of support and help. I know it's been tricky since I moved to Michigan and not in LA, but you've always been so kind to take the time with me and help me with my needs. So I just want to say thanks.
It's my pleasure, and I appreciate the relationship as well.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to stop here. You guys, please join us on Clear Channel on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, please take out your phones. Do it right now, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for joining us today.